Okay, next up, it's Caspar Hewett.
I don't know whether you ever asked yourself the question, but why is it that many female birds look something like this? Whereas actually, a lot of male birds look more like this. Well, the answer lies with the theory of sexual selection. Now, you've probably all heard of natural selection. Natural selection is the filter by which the genes of the most successful individuals get passed into the next generation. Now, by success or fitness, we mean something very precise. We mean simply that, that you actually live long enough to reproduce and pass on your genes. Now, if that were the case, then you should be able to explain something like a peacock's tail in terms of a survival advantage, and there really doesn't seem to be one. This is where the theory of sexual selection kicks in. Now let's imagine, sometime in the distant past, that the ancestors of the peacock, the male ancestors, look pretty much like the females. They're quite drab colours. But what if, I should put that down, a male of one generation just happens to have a little bit more colour than the other males of his generation? Well, that attracts the females. They like a little bit of colour. This provides an advantage to that male. Now, of course, this lucky guy, he actually gets to have lots more sexual partners than his contemporaries. And that's really important. And of course, he's a male, so he can actually afford to gad about because it's actually cheap for him. Losing my words. His investment in potential offspring is actually quite minimal compared to the females. If I just think of it, an egg versus a sperm. A sperm is cheap. So he gads about, he has lots of sexual partners, he has lots of offspring. And that means there are more males around in the next generation with that little bit of colour. Now, provided the next generation of females also like a little bit of extra colour, actually we expect that to continue. And we can end up with what we call a runaway process, whereby the males, generation by generation, become brighter and more gaudy. And this is the idea of sexual selection. Now, even the females who actually choose perhaps males who aren't as bright, they're going to actually end up at a disadvantage, because if they have male offspring, their male offspring will be less likely to survive, and therefore their genes there'll be less of their genes in the gene pool ultimately. So both sexes are actually pushed to choose and produce brighter coloured males. That's the idea of sexual selection, and it comes from Darwin's idea of female preference. It begs more questions than it answers, but then don't all the best scientific theories do that?
Thank you very much.